Welcome to Ball Talk Deep, where we talk deep about ball. It's Andrade and Irwin back at it again. And today we're going to talk about something Chris Broussard brought up when he was guesting on the herd with Colin Cowherd. And that is the grace period for NBA players, which made me think, okay, what should be the general consensus grace period that we should give NBA players? Or at the very least, what's mine, what's Irwin's? So before we get into it, let's hear Broussard's take on it.
Look, I'm not going to hold the winning. People are holding, oh, they're not winning. How well can he be playing? LeBron James didn't make the playoffs his first 2 years.
That's right.
Kevin Durant didn't make the playoffs his first 2 years. And they obviously were balling. So you get a grace period as a young guy.
Sure.
You really do. Unless you come in and play with a superstar like Kobe with Shaq, Magic with Kareem. Otherwise, you get a grace period to win.
No grace period, man. NBA, man. First year. If you're not winning the NBA Finals, you a bust. No.
That's exactly why I wanted to touch on the topic, because in my opinion, I think media goes a little too hard on young players, especially the ones with immense expectations, or even if they don't have big expectations, maybe in the first year they surprise everybody and then they start getting the pressure, maybe like someone like a Tyler Hero and shit. So it's like,
or too
chill
soft.
out. Yeah.
Or too soft, man. Ben Simmons is still getting into the All-Star game, even though he's mad overrated. He can't shoot for shit.
And actually, I think Ben Simmons is a great example for at least my grace period. But yeah, so grace period is just like, for anyone wondering, it's just the amount of time that we would give before labeling a player a bust, a success, exceeding expectations, shit like that. Whether they have high expectations or low expectations, whatever, before we actually publicly label this player is da 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 da.
And there's always exceptions, which we'll probably get into it as well.
That's true. That's true.
But yeah, man. It's kind of hard to tell when it comes to that. But what's your grace period when it comes to young players coming into the NBA?
All right, for me, I would give an NBA player 3 to 4 years, depending on the age, trajectory, experience, and expectations for that respective player coming in, but roughly that amount of time for just about anybody, because it could vary. And then the reason I say 3 to 4 years is because in that amount of time we get a legitimately better understanding of a player's work ethic, mindset, determination, patience, and focus, which all help pan out the development of that player's skills and talent.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to agree with you for the most part. The standard that I would put is the rookie contract that a player gets when it gets to the NBA, a first-round pick, which is for 4 years.
Makes sense.
The exception to the rule would be if you're a player that got moved around a lot during those 4 years.
Yeah, organization can play a vital part to the development of a player.
Or if you play for an organization that traditionally, as I like to say, is a dumpster fire. And there's other things as well that we're probably going to cover it as well. But why 3 or 4 years in detail, Andrade?
You touched on it, because, all right, before I get into it, when I'm saying 3 to 4 years, I'm saying that's when we'll get a much clearer and better understanding of a player's capability and true potential.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that they'll have reached that ceiling already, although some may, most won't.
I think you'll see a light at the end of the tunnel. See, like, hey, is this player going to be this player or not? Exactly.
So that's why I brought up those aspects. Like age, a player can get drafted at different ages. It could range from 19 to 20 to someone 22, 23, even 24. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Trajectory and expectations. So all like what hype they get coming into it. And the reason I brought up experience is because just with age, it could also depend, especially in today's NBA, like someone like LaMelo, who even though he didn't go to college and he still came in mad early, like at a very young age, but he had professional experience under his belt.
That helped out immensely.
Yeah, and same with Luka. And then also it could be someone who came from college, and depending on the college they went to, like somewhere like Duke, and it's just, or Kentucky, depending on the coaches they have. So all of that plays into, am I giving you 3 to 4 years to really see, or even earlier? Because say they don't get that experience, or they came from a small school. Like if they came from a small school, maybe give them a little more time. And I'll touch on one of the examples, aka Jimmy. If they come into the league with little to no experience on that level, from a D1 school or a highly developed league or pro league already, then maybe give them a little more time to get their feet wet in the league, and then we get to see more of how they'll actually play out in the league. Because like I said, it all comes down to kind of like the factors that everybody likes to talk about. The cliche factors.
That, and to add to your point as well, players that play like for a blue chip school like a Kentucky, but maybe didn't get that much playing time because that school is so immensely talented that you're not going to be the first option. First person that comes to mind to me is Tyler Hero and Bam Adebayo. Bam.
That's true.
You know, and if you didn't give him the proper leash, you know, you're not going to be able to see perfect example is Bam.
And he did that.
Yeah.
And I guess another example on the Heat is Duncan Robinson. Motherfucker came from
third division.
Literally nowhere, and now he's one of the most respected shooters in the game. But that's why I wanted to focus on those aspects, like mindset, determination, patience, focus, and work ethic. And Duncan, who started popping off 24-25. Kendrick Nunn, 24-25, I believe.
Another one.
So, in those years, the Heat saw, okay, whatever your journey is, what do you really like?
And we could also agree, Andrade, that kind of what separates great organization from bad organizations, because it seems like the Heat are always finding these type of players.
True. And the Spurs were able to do it with Kawhi.
And the Spurs as well, with Manu, with Parker.
That too.
With, those guys.
Someone I'll bring up, because he's my example, maybe the Bucks are up there, because Giannis, he didn't start coming into his own until his fourth year.
Chris Middleton as well.
There you go. And Giannis didn't have as high expectations entering the league. It was more so high potential, but many didn't expect it to happen. You know what I mean? And there's a clear difference between expectation and hope in someone's potential. And similarly, like I said, Butler's also one of those who didn't start really hitting his stride in his fourth season. And then the ones who had grand expectations, one of the easiest examples, especially in modern day history, is LeBron. Yeah. LeBron took the Cavs to the finals in his fourth year in the NBA, and he came with the biggest expectations of all, at least in the past 20 to 30 years. You know what I mean? And before he took them to the finals, it was already starting to get about like, oh, is he really the chosen one? Is he really this or that? Because he hadn't taken, well, in the first two seasons he didn't make the playoffs, like Broussard said. Yeah. But okay, he hasn't even reached a conference finals. Shit. By fourth year, motherfucker took them to, it was a sweep, but whatever. He took them to the finals, and he was only 22, 23, because remember, he came into the league at 18, one of the last remaining that came straight from high school. And just keep in mind, guys, the anomalies are incredibly rare, especially in modern NBA, because most of the anomalies happened before the 2000s. And by anomalies, I mean like Kareem, Magic, Duncan. They won championships under 3 years.
Not Duncan. Oh, yeah.
And I think,
Tim Duncan. Yeah, Tim Duncan.
Some critics and fans, like, they focus on those anomalies a little too much, but it's like also what you said. It also depends, do they come into the league on an already built team, already set team, you know what I mean, that already maybe has some star power on their team or develop role players. Yeah. But most of them are not, because why were they able to get those players with high expectations? Because they got the high seed. Why did they get those high seeds?
Because they're horrible.
Exactly. That's usually you're not gonna get a Detroit Pistons in 03 with a number 2 pick, or a Golden State Warriors who got really lucky last year getting Wiseman at number 3, I believe.
I mean, but those were injuries.
But, yeah. But like, the same thing they were recent, too. They still got that core dynasty.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, so 3 or 4 years.
Yeah.
When it comes to that. Yeah, I mean, you pretty much hit the points when it comes to the 3 or 4 years. I kind of want to focus more on a couple anomalies. The two that come to mind would be, first one is your boy Zach LaVine.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, he got drafted. I believe he's a lottery pick. I believe he got drafted by number 7 by Minnesota.
Yeah.
Yeah, and at that time, at that time he was just known as a dunker, and pretty much that's it around. But now, going to present day 2021 with the Bulls, the guy is balling.
Finally, yes.
Well,
I'm talking about like finally getting the recognition.
Yeah, he's finally getting the recognition, man.
Because he's been putting up some good numbers past 2 to 3 years.
Past 2 or 3 years. But if you would have gone with the standard, hey, we're only gonna give you 3 or 4 years, easily you would have said, hey, bust, we're gonna let you go, get out of the league.
Yes.
Type stuff.
And it speaks volumes that he was able to shed that dunking branding image to now being respected as an overall great player, because there's a reason not only was he a dunk contest champion 2-time, but he was probably not arguably, the best dunker we've seen since Vince Carter. The only one anyone else could bring is Aaron Gordon, but that's just because they had those crazy battles.
About Derrick Jones Jr., the guy that beat Aaron Gordon.
I'm sorry, man. I'm like I like Derrick Jones Jr., but not Levine Duncan level, or at least back in the day Levine Duncan level. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm just gonna keep it real.
I know D-Wade would agree.
Levine has clips. He didn't do it in the dunk contest, but there's footage where he did a 360 dunk from the free throw line, bro.
That's cute, man. D-Wade would probably still give it a 9.
Oh man.
But
Wait, you're gonna be a forever me for that, bro. But that's on you, dog. That's on you.
Yeah, I feel you, man. When it comes to that, another anomaly I want to bring up as well, past the 3 or 4 years, is actually Chauncey Billups. He was a top 3 pick in the 1997 draft out of Colorado. This man, he's the type of player that I was telling you that got moved around a lot, you know, in the beginning of the year. And when you're a young player, you already have enough expectations. It's not easy when it comes to that. And the fact that you just can't, you know, settle, you know, in one specific organization in the beginning of the career.
Yeah, you got to get your foot, grounded.
That definitely throws you off. So it definitely didn't help. He was in Minnesota. He was in Boston. He was in Toronto. And where else would where he was? He was also in, Boston, Toronto, Denver, and Minnesota before getting his career finally going with the Detroit Pistons after 6 years.
And get a finals MVP.
Exactly. And pretty much ended that little dynasty that the Lakers was going on.
Yeah, and before that, imagine, I bet you all the executives probably didn't even pay attention to him or already had in their head labeled as a bust. You know what I mean?
They did pay attention because, okay, if you're going to get picked in the top 3, they were
I'm saying after he got into the league over those few years. They probably already labeled him in their head okay, that he is what he is.
He was already a bust.
It's nah.
As you clearly saw, you know, when he got to the Pistons, he became what we know as now Mr. Big Shot.
Yes, and what I want to say about your 2 examples, which ties in perfectly why I say 3 to 4 years, is bringing it back to the intangible factors I mentioned earlier. A player can fake all those cliche aspects I mentioned earlier, or exaggerate those factors coming into the league or for a brief period of time, and they'll be like, yeah, I'm all about the game, I'm all about basketball, but it takes legitimate time and patience to get a fuller picture of how that person truly operates and if they actually live those words that they say they live by. You know what I mean?
Of course.
And in 3 to 4 years, barring injury or drastic events, staff and players will get a much better, truer understanding of that player after spending more than enough time with them on and off the court in that span in those years. And that's when you truly get to see oh no, that motherfucker, he comes into the gym at this time. He's got the work ethic. Yeah. He's got the determination. He's got the focus. He focuses on his weakness. I would love to interview or hear more players that have been around Ben Simmons over the past few years and hear okay, was Simmons legit working on his shot over the past few years, or were those just he posted a couple social media PR things, but he really was, because those people, staff or players around that organization will get to see the actual, and then they could be more honest. Man, I want to be honest with you, Simmons didn't. Oh, by the way, guys, all this is hyper. We
don't know what we're talking
about.
Yeah,
it's not. Yeah, what's hypothetical?
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah, it was hyperbole.
Now, hey, if you guys know Ben Simmons, hey, get us over here and we'll talk to him.
Yo, for real, or not even him, but that's what I'm saying, because they can exaggerate or lie, or fake it. Someone else that's observing it, especially, if they're lesser known, they'll be more real about it. Be nah, he would come to the gym and he wasn't working on his shots. He was just working on the same drills he always worked on. It was his inside game. And it's oh, okay. And then that, for me, those underlying things that most people might not pay attention to speak volumes of what might actually turn out for the player.
Yeah, of course. But hey, either way, man, we'd love to hear what you guys think in the comments.
Yeah, what's your grace period on players? 1 year, 2 years? Is 3 to 4 too much? I don't know. Or is that too short? Maybe you guys say 5, 6. Billups, what was it, 6?
It was
5, 6, 7 years?
6 or 7 years, man, before he got to the Pistons and got it going, man.
Butler took 7 years before he finally reached the finals. And it's not even that he reached the finals, but he finally shed that image of I'm not a team player. No, hey, he's a team player.
Oh, what a cancer he is, huh?
Yeah.
To the Heat, huh?
I felt for that too, and I believe. I remember when he came to the Heat, I was I don't know if we really want him because I'm not trying to have locker room drama, but I should have trusted the Heat organization. Like
exactly.
They're gonna hire based on culture, as some other organizations do.
But yeah, man. You guys let us know what you guys think. Is there some other player you guys want us to talk about? You know, and those type of things. Yeah, we'll definitely get to it as well.
On a side note, one person I think already early on showing those, and there are gonna be some anomalies, guys, that will show that development quicker and don't need 3 to 4 years. For me, it's already Luka.
Yeah, easily.
Ja's a little early because but I already believe in it. Like I do think he has the actual mindset.
Yeah. And
Wiseman, and I think also kind of like tying into what I was saying about the Heat, Golden State has a set culture. You know what I mean? They're a winning culture.
Yeah, that's what to say.
And I don't think they would have just picked up Wiseman just because he's a center. We might need, you know what I mean? And talent. Like no, he seems and he's proven it. Okay, this guy might develop into a legitimate thing. And one surprise for me is, because for me it was 50-50, it could go either way, is LaMelo. But already in under a year, same with Wiseman, bro, I think LaMelo's actually got it.
We'll see what happens, baby. Either way, guys, appreciate all the love and the hate. You guys already know. Catch us on Insta, Twitter, TikTok, on Ball Talk Deep, where we talk deep about ball. Anyways, we'll catch you guys soon, but for now, later.
Take care.